Mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, "My Lord, what Thou hast wanted me to do, I have done. The gates of the supramental have been thrown open, and the supramental consciousness, light and force are flooding the earth. All was gold and gold and gold, a torrent of golden light pouring down in an uninterrupted flow and bringing with it the consciousness that the path of the gods is a sunlit path in which difficulties lose all reality. Such is the path open before us if we choose to take it. With my love and blessings, says our Divine Mother."
Remain young. Never stop striving towards perfection.
Words taken from the All India magazine of May 2009 from our Lord Sri Aurobindo. A note on the four realizations of our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo's yoga and spiritual philosophy are founded on four great realizations. Two of these he had realized in full before coming to Pondicherry in 1910.
The dawn of their perfection.
The first, the realization of the silent, spaceless and timeless Brahman he had gained while meditating with Lele in 1908. The feeling and perception of the total unreality of the world, which at first attended this realization, disappeared after the second realization, which was gained in the Alipore jail in 1908-1909. The realization of the cosmic consciousness and the vision of the divine as all beings and as all that is. In his meditations in the jail, Sri Aurobindo was already on his way to the other two realizations, that of the supreme reality with the static and dynamic Brahman as its two aspects, and that of the higher planes of consciousness leading to the supermind. By 1912, the third realization was attained when Sri Aurobindo experienced an abiding realization and dwelling in Parabrahman, the supreme reality. The process of ascent into the higher planes of consciousness and of bringing down the power of those planes into the physical consciousness continued. On 24th November, this effort was crowned by the descent of the Godhead of the Overmind, the highest of the planes between mind and supermind into the physical. This descent was preparatory to the descent of the supermind itself, by which the perfection dreamed of by all that is highest in humanity can come. From 1926, our Lord Sri Aurobindo worked spiritually to bring about the supramental descent, and in 1950 he left his physical body to hasten its advent. Words of Sri Aurobindo. Question. By what punya of ours has the grace granted to us, mere humans, this rare privilege of coming here at the Divine's feet? For this our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, it is the call of your soul that brought you here, and also some aspiration or connection with the Mother and myself in past lives. Question. People make all sorts of efforts to have God's darshan. Some even weep and weep, yet they fail to obtain it. We in the ashram don't seem to have done very much, and yet we are here with you. What has brought this about? For this, our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, there are many things that have brought it about. A connection in the past lives with the Divine Mother and myself, the development of your nature in former births, which has made it possible for you to seek the Divine, bhakti in those lives bearing its fruit now, finally the Divine grace, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo, taken from the Collective Works, Volume 32, page 87. Next topic, lighting the psychic fire. Question. Sweet Mother, our Lord Sri Aurobindo writes, a psychic fire within must be lit, into which all is thrown with the divine name upon it, in the Synthesis of Yoga, volume 20, page 155. Isn't the psychic fire always lit? For this, our Divine Mother says it is not always lit. Then the sadhak asks, then how to lit it? For this, our Divine Mother says, by aspiration, by the will for progress, by the urge towards perfection. Above all, it is the will for progress and self-purification which lights the fire. The will for progress. Those who have a strong will, when they turn it towards the spiritual progress and purification, automatically light the fire within themselves. And each defect one wants to cure, or each progress one wants to make, if all that is thrown into the fire, it burns with a new intensity. And this is not an image, it is a fact in the subtle physical. One can feel the warmth of the flame, one can see in the subtle physical the light of the flame. And when there is something in the nature which prevents one from advancing and one throws it into this fire, it begins to burn and the flame becomes more intense, says our Divine Mother in the Collective Works of our Divine Mother, Volume 8, page 251. Next topic, aspiration and the psychic being. This is a conversation by our Divine Mother with one of our disciples on 25th July 1962. Our Divine Mother says aspiration is almost always an expression of the psychic being, the part of us that's organized around the divine center, the small divine flame deep within human beings. You see? This divine flame exists inside each human being, and little by little, through all the incarnations and karma and so on, a being takes shape around it, which Dion called the psychic being. And when the psychic being reaches its full development, it becomes a kind of bodily or at any rate individual raiment of the soul. Our Divine Mother says the soul is a portion of the Supreme. The Jiva is the supreme individual form. And since there is only one Supreme, there is only one Jiva with millions of individual forms. This Jiva begins as a divine spark, immutable, eternal, and infinite too. Infinite in possibility rather than dimension. And through all the incarnations, whatever has received and responded to the divine influence progressively crystallizes around the Jiva, which becomes more and more conscious as well as more and more organized. Ultimately, it becomes a completely conscious individual being, master of itself and moved exclusively by the divine will. That is to say, an individual expression of the Supreme. This is what we call the psychic being, says our Divine Mother. Next topic, irresistible attraction for the divine. From volume 7 of our collective works of our Divine Mother, page 394. Our Divine Mother says there are people in whom the psychic moment, the emotional impulse is stronger than intellectual understanding. They feel an irresistible attraction for the divine without knowing, without having the slightest idea of what it is, of what it can be, what it represents. Nothing, no intellectual notion, but a kind of impulse, attraction, a need, an inevitable need. Our Divine Mother says, and these people who have that, if I may say, as a result of the grace, and our Divine Mother says, and these people who have that, if I may say, as a result of the grace of the Divine, they have a mind which does not trouble them, does not question, does not discuss, go very fast. And then, what is quite miraculous according to the original ideas is that as soon as they reach that degree of consecration which identifies them through the psychic being with the divine presence, suddenly they become endowed with capacities of expression absolutely unknown to their nature, says our Divine Mother. Next topic, two powerful levers, taken from volume 7 of our Divine Mother's collective works, page 418. Our Divine Mother says there are two principal things. This, the capacity of enthusiasm which makes one come out of his greater or lesser inertia in order to throw himself more or less totally into the thing which rouses him. As for instance, the artist for his art, the scientist for his science, and in general, every person who creates or builds has an opening. The opening of a special faculty, a special possibility, creating an enthusiasm in him. When this is active, something in the being awakens, something in the being awakens, and there is a participation of almost the whole being in the thing done. There is this. And then there are those who have an innate faculty of gratitude, those who have an ardent need to respond with warmth, devotion, joy to something which they feel like a marble hidden behind the whole of life, behind the tiniest little element, the least little event of life, who feel the sovereign beauty of infinite grace which is behind all things. Our Divine Mother says, I knew people who had no knowledge, so as to say, of anything, who had hardly educated, whose minds were altogether of the ordinary kind, and who had in them this capacity of gratitude, of warmth which gives itself, understands, and is thankful. Well, for them, the contact with the psychic was very frequent, almost constant, and to the extent that they were capable of it, conscious, not very conscious, but a little, in the sense that they felt they were carried, helped, uplifted above themselves. These two things prepare people the most. They are born with one or the other, and if they take the trouble, it develops gradually, it increases. We say the capacity for enthusiasm, something which throws you out of your miserable and mean little ego, and the generous attitude, the generosity of the gratitude, which also flings itself in the thanksgiving out of the little ego. These are the two powerful levers to enter into contact with the divine in one's psychic being. This serves as a link with the psychic being, the surest link, says our Divine Mother. Next topic, essential conditions for the psychic growth. From volume 16 of the Collective Works of Our Divine Mother, page 222, our Divine Mother says, in order to strengthen the contact and aid, if possible, in order to strengthen the contact and aid, if possible, the development of the conscious psychic personality, one should, while concentrating, turn towards it, aspire to know it and feel it, open oneself to receive its influence, and take great care each time that one receives an indication from it to follow it very scrupulously and sincerely, to live in a great aspiration, to take care to become inwardly calm and remain so always as far as possible, to cultivate a perfect sincerity in all the activities of one's being. These are the essential conditions for the growth of the psychic being. Our Divine Mother says the psychic being is progressive and immortal. Our Divine Mother says all the methods of self knowledge, self control, and self mastery are good. You have to choose the one that comes to you spontaneously and best corresponds to your nature. And once having chosen the method, you must use your intelligent will to apply it with an unfailing perseverance that does not shrink from any obstacle or any difficulty. It is a long and minute work which must be undertaken with sincerity and continued with an increasing sincerity, even more scrupulous and integral. The easy paths generally lead nowhere, says our Divine Mother.